Hi, I'm Shannon, back from houseimprovements.com, and today I just want to shoot a video here, and we're going to show you how to replace a bathroom fan. In the bathroom we've already removed the old fan. Basically, to do that, there's a few variances that could be possible, but first of all you want to turn the breaker off to the actual power source. So turn that off. Don't just turn the switch on the wall off, turn the actual breaker off. Double check that there is no power at the unit with a power tester, and once you're sure that that's dead, you can start to unhook the wiring, pull the unit all off. In some cases it might require that you go up in the attic. Well, I guess it depends where it's installed. If it's in the ceiling area and it's accessible from up top, you might have to go up there to remove it. If it's only accessible from in the room where you're working, most of them will come out right there without cutting a big hole in the ceiling. Sometimes you may have to actually cut a hole or an extra big hole to get at the mounting. Another option may be some companies have retrofits where you actually leave the metal box in the ceiling, but you pull out the fan itself and just change the fan unit. This is good if you've got a really noisy fan and really, it's functioning but it's noisy and you just want to quiet it down. A lot of them are coming out with retrofits with a quieter type fan that can go right into the housing you have. So you might want to check that out, even it saves you a little bit of time. Some of the things to look at when you're purchasing a fan, there's basically really two or three main things. Most fans, you'll either have just a fan. You could have a fan with a light integrated into the cover, and you could have a fan, a light, and a humidity sensor integrated in. A lot of them are coming out with sensors now, so they actually would kick in when or if the humidity gets to a certain level. I haven't dealt with a lot of those ones yet, so I can't recommend that they work great or not. I still like to put all my fans, I don't even like them on a switch. I like to put them on a timer, so you can actually come in. It's separate from the light switch in the bathroom. So when you need the fan, you punch into the timer how much time you want it to run. This way you can come in, have your shower, and leave the fan running for a good half hour after you've left, and then you know that it's going to get rid of all that humidity that was in there. If it's on a switch, most people are going to turn that switch off when they're done their shower and they're leaving the room. And that's all right, but you've still left a lot of humidity usually in there. The fan needs a few more minutes to work, so that's why I like to use a timer. So one of the other things, or two of the other things you want to look at is one is the CFMs of your fan, which is the cubic feet per minute of air that it actually removes from the room. And the other thing is the Sones, and that is how loud or quiet the fan is. So with the CFMs, an easy calculation is to take your bathroom, take the length times the width times the height, and multiply that by 0.15 to come up with a total CFMs. So simply, if your bathroom's 8 feet long, for example, 5 feet wide, 8 feet tall, multiply those three times 0.15, and that'll come up with a number. In my demonstration there, I think that's around 50 or something like that. Now, your CFMs of your fan should be just a hair bigger than what your actual calculation comes out to. I don't like to use anything less than a 90 CFM fan. Bigger is better. So that's basically the CFMs. You need to figure out what you need for your room, otherwise you're just wasting your time. It's not going to move enough air. As far as the Sones go, I believe they basically range from 0 to 5. And a lot of the manufacturers actually have it marked right on the side of the box what your fan or what your fan puts out for Sones. The lower the number, the quieter the fan. So if you have anything less than about 2, that's a pretty quiet fan. I've never seen a 0, but I've seen a 0.4. Usually they're right around that 1 for a good quality fan. I think this one that we're going to put in today, this is just the housing for it. This is a 90 CFM, and the Sone is 1. So this one's pretty quiet, even though it's a big housing. It's a nice big fan, and it doesn't put out a bunch of racket rattling away up there in the ceiling. So So those are the basic things you're looking for when you're buying the fan. And I mean, you could spend up to $250 on a fan. That's not unheard of. You could spend $30 on a fan. If you buy the $30 one, you're getting a $30 fan. It's not likely going to be very quiet. It's probably going to have, 40, maybe 50 CFMs. So not probably a real good choice, but in that $100-$120 range, you'll find a pretty good selection there, and probably find one that'll fit your needs. So, okay, I think that's the main things you need to look for when buying. So I've taken mine all out of the box already. What you're going to find in the box is you're going to find the ceiling cover, and like I said, some of them may have a light in it. So you're going to find that. You're going to find the little damper that snaps onto the housing. This is where your ductwork hooks on. You're going to find the instructions as well. And then you're going to find the housing and the motor unit. And this will usually come all assembled. Other than these, I've already put the mounting bars on. So these would have been loose in the box, but I mounted them onto the box already. In here, this is the fan unit, the motor housing. And they're attached. There's usually one screw in there attached on a side that you need to remove to get that out. I pre-loosened this one because it was difficult to get at. So once you have that screw out, a lot of times you need to push on the housing a little bit because it's kind of clipped in there. You'll hear a snap. Oops. Before you do all that, unplug the wiring harness, which generally just pulls right out. And then the fan, I mean, obviously this would be over your head if you already got it installed, but the fan unit pulls out. And there's no need to have that in there while you're doing the actual installation. It's just makes it harder to work with because it's a little heavier. But so you can see the basic configuration: small electric motor and a squirrel cage type fan. So I'm just going to set that to the side. So what's going to happen is, in most cases, you're probably replacing a fan you already have. And I think, like I mentioned before, it could be an insulated ceiling. It might be just in floor joists or ceiling joists where there is no insulation, possibly. The case we're dealing with is it's in an attic, so it's in an insulated space. We're going to have an insulated duct, which we're going to be able to reuse the one that was there. It's already mounted to a vent that goes through the roof and is all done in with the shingles at the same time. So we're just going to reuse that. It all looks fine. The venting itself will hook onto this damper. And if you kind of look at the damper, and in the instructions they even mention too, most of them, you can see it's pretty flat across the top here. And there's a little bit of a bulge right there. This would be the top, the flat side would be the top. And I haven't seen any that connect any differently than what this one is. There's a couple little clips on the side, and it just simply, once you get it in the right position, just snaps right onto there. And that's really all that holds it on. And you can see the little flapper inside of there. And all that's for is so if wind blows back down the vent on your roof or your eave, it blows up against there and closes that off so you don't get too much of a cold draft down there. It's not 100% sealed up, but that's how that works. Like I said, we're going out through the roof. Yours could be vented straight out and maybe down through the soffit or even straight out the wall on the exterior of your house, but it should be vented. It shouldn't just vent into a floor space or attic space. It should go to the exterior of your house. Otherwise, you're defeating the purpose. You're trying to get that moisture out of your home. So, and if you're in a colder climate and it is in a like an attic space, a cold space, the ductwork should be insulated as well. So that's that part. Actually, here's a sample piece of the ductwork that is pretty much exactly like what we're going to be using. So you can see it's got the inner sleeve, kind of a flexible actual ducting. It's got a white insulation, bat type insulation wrapped around it, and it's got a vapor barrier on the outside already. And it comes exactly like this. You just buy it by however many feet you need. So what would happen, and we might not be able to show it that well in the actual bathroom and in the attic. So I'm just going to show you right here. Simply, this one's 4-inch. You can, that's something I should mention, your existing ductwork may be, especially if you're going from a smaller fan to a bigger one, your existing ductwork may be, only 3 inches. If it is, it's better if you can replace the ductwork, because most of these new fans all have a 4-inch duct. So if you're reducing that size as soon as it leaves the fan and gets into the ductwork, you're making the fan not work as efficiently as it's designed to. Although there are reducers that you could add on to here that would reduce from 4-inch down to 3-inch. I mean, you can hook it up, it's just not as good. So anyways, this ductwork just simply slips right over, and then use a foil type of, this is just a tape, but it's a foil face tape. It works better than actual duct tape. Duct tape kind of deteriorates over time and breaks down. This does not. So we slide that over, a nice inch or so over the lip of the vent that comes with the fan. Tape all the way around there to seal it up. Then we make sure we pull the insulation. You might have had to kind of push that insulation up out of the way to get this on there. And then you want to pull the insulation down. It's a little hard for me to do here because the fan wants to move. But pull your insulation right down and around as much of that plastic damper as you can. Once you have it there, then what I do is I kind of fold up the excess plastic that's around the outside, and I put another wrap of that foil face tape on there to make that seal right there as well. So that's how you deal with that. This piping here that I have cuts easy. It's kind of a 2-step process. You cut it off to length, but there's a reinforcing wire inside of this part, so you'll have to use a side cutter or something to cut the wire as well, but you just cut the plastic part with your knife. So okay, so that's the ductwork. For the electrical hookup, there's sometimes a bit of variance there. Some of them are accessible from the inside, so once you've got it up in the ceiling, you can actually get your wiring done. There might be a cover here or whatever that you can pull down and access the wires. This one doesn't, and a lot of them won't. A lot of them you have to access it from up in the ceiling space or the attic. And what you'll have is a little cover here that's held on with one screw usually, and it comes out of the way. You can see I've already inserted a wire clamp into here. They won't come with this wire clamp, so you'll need one of those. So your existing wire will come through here, and with the sheathing on it, with the outer sheathing on it, come through here, and you clamp it down, and then the wires that are sticking through the inside, just like a normal plug-in or anything like that, you should have enough wires to do what you want to do. So you might have 4 or 5 inches of wire inside of this cap, right? So depending on the fan you have, this one only has a fan. There's no humidity sensor, there is no light either. So this one is pretty generic. Basically all I need to do is I would hook the white wire that's coming in from my supply to the white wire here. The ground wire, which might be just a bare copper wire, hooks to the green on the fan, and the black wire coming in hooks to the black. Basic, no problems there. Different scenarios you might have, and your fan instructions will show you how to do this as well, so don't be afraid to refer to them, because there are a few variables. If you had, let's just say you have a fan with a light in it, and some people will just set it up, maybe because their existing wiring only allowed for one power source, so they might just have it all running off the same timer or switch so that the fan and light both come on at the same time. So that means if you have a light in here in the fan, you're going to have probably at least one extra wire. It might be red, right? So you bring in your normal wiring, you hook all your whites together, your ground to the ground. The black one that was in here, say you only had a 14.2 coming in, the black one would hook to the power source for the fan and the power source if you have it for the light. And that would allow that one switch or timer down in the bathroom to actually turn everything on at one time. If your wiring's, say you've got 2 switches set up separately downstairs, so you could turn the light on its own or the fan on its own, then the wiring coming in here would at least be a 3-wire, which would mean you'd have not only a ground and a white, but also a black and a red. Okay, so then it's just a matter of hooking up the corresponding, the whites and the ground aren't going to change, they're going to be the same, but your red and your black that are coming in here would hook up to the corresponding wire that you need it to function in the fan. So like I said, refer to your instructions because it will be in there. It'll show you the different choices and different scenarios. So in our case, I'm going to have to hook up this wire up in the attic. So again, just because of the situation, I'm not going to be able to probably show you the actual wiring hookup. That's why I wanted to just discuss it here on the bench. It's tough enough for me to get up in the attic without the camera and lights and another person. So I'm just going to pop that back in there so I don't lose anything. I'll just pull it out again when I'm up in the attic to hook it up. To hook those up, obviously you're going to use wire nuts, or a lot of people just refer to them as morettes. If you don't know how to use these, you can search some of my other electrical videos, in particular wiring multiple receptacles on our YouTube channel, and you'll see me using those as well and demonstrate it. I think I've pretty much done all I can do here on the bench. I guess a quick talk about actually doing the install before we move is you have a couple options. Most fans will come with this extra fin on one side. This fin is designed so that if you, I'll just push these back. If you were placing it right up against a joist or a rafter, you could actually mount it right onto that. You know, if your rafter was here, you could mount it right there, and it would hang there. If you, in our case, to get it kind of centered in the room where we want it, I'm going to be out in the middle between 2 rafters. So that's where these mounting bars come in, and they're adjustable this way. They mount with a nail into the wood, so I can spread them out, actually hit the rafters, slide the housing around to where I need it, and it's just a little more flexible that way. The other thing I guess I'll mention is what you're trying to achieve with the box itself, with the housing. You want this bottom edge to be flush to the bottom face of your drywall, so flush with your ceiling. That's how you're trying to set it up with. Also, once I get it all in there, get the wiring hooked up, the venting on, and again, I'm not going to be able to really show this up there, but what I'll do then, if you're in an area where you're supposed to have a vapor barrier and there's an existing one in your attic, what I do is cut a piece of polyplastic that's made for vapor barrier purposes, and it's going to be fairly big, probably about 3 feet square in this case, and I'm going to lay it right over the whole unit, cut around the ductwork, seal it all to the existing vapor barrier as much as I can, seal it around. You know, this will be on here. I want to tape it all around all this with, I'll be using like red tuck tape that you would use on house wrap. Seal up everything right where the power comes through it, the wire comes through it, seal that up. Try to make it as airtight as you can. It is pretty difficult because of everything going on here, but it is possible to get it pretty good. So I think that's all I can really show you on the bench. Next thing I'm going to do, we're going to set up in the bathroom. I'm going to get this thing mounted up in the ceiling, and then I'll have to climb up in the attic and get all the wiring and venting hooked up. So we'll continue in the bathroom. Okay, so in the bathroom here, we're actually going to be covering this old ceiling with some new drywall. You can even see over there we've got the first sheet up. So I just cut a little bigger hole here so that you might be able to see a bit better what I'm doing. I'm not going to be able to show from down here hooking up the ductwork or the electrical. That's why I tried to show you on the bench in the other room. You'll see some cardboard up in that opening. That's really just there holding the insulation back so it isn't falling all over me when I'm trying to hammer this in and talk to you. So you won't typically see that up there. So I'm going to take the housing up. This is the existing ductwork. I'm going to push it up just out of the way, like so. You can see that insulation. Yucky stuff. And I already went ahead and kind of pre-marked out where I want this to be, so if it looks like I'm just slapping it up there, I'm not. I've actually got some marks there to tell me where I need to go with it. So, so I'm using those hanger brackets like I had said, and I just want to get them to my marks and tack the nails in. That. Whew. Should be itchy by the time I'm done this. So you can see that's why I have the glasses on. To be quite honest, probably a mask wouldn't be a bad idea either. So I just slid those bars out. I'm lining them up on my marks I had on the other side. I'm not nailing it completely in until I know that I've got things exactly where I want them. Should be okay there. Okay, so those bars in there, now they allow me to adjust this kind of wherever I want to kind of get it in the room. I don't know, you can probably tell that it's hanging down. It looks like it's hanging down below this, and that is what I wanted, because remember, I'm coming in with another sheet of 1/2 inch underneath there. The reason I'm just, because somebody's going to ask the question, so I'm going to answer it right now. The reason I'm drywalling over this is this ceiling wasn't in that great a shape. Just banged up and that, and instead of pulling this down and having all that insulation vapor barrier probably come loose and fall down, with the ceiling it's just easier to go right over top of it with some new stuff. So I've got that in there. I've got my fan sitting basically where I want to put it. I'm going to pop up into the attic, get the wiring hooked up. Actually, I can pop the, I guess I could pop the motor housing in there for you. And anyways, I'm going to do all that other hookup. We'll maybe throw up this sheet of drywall, and then I'll pop the cover on too right at the end of the video, just so you can see how that all works. Okay, so it's just a matter of looking for the appropriate tabs on this housing to figure out which direction it works. Usually there'll be a cutout like this that lines up with the power source, and that's your biggest clue on which way this actually goes in there. Like I said, most of them kind of snap in to hold it there, so you don't have to hold it while you're trying to get the screw in. Actually, I'll maybe leave the screw out in case I've got to pull it out again, but anyways, once you get that up in there, you'd insert the screw that was there, take the power source, plug it in. I'm going to leave it unplugged too for right now. So I'm going to go up top and get things hooked up there. We'll come down and do the bottom drywall and throw the cover on. So you can see when we're up here, like I said, there's not a lot of great room to show you anything video-wise. It's just too cramped. It's hard enough for me to get up here, let alone get the camera in a decent spot to get a shot. So I've got the vent hooked up, I've got the electrical hooked up. Now I'm going to take the my poly and try to do the best vapor barrier I can. And then I can pull out the cardboards and slough in some insulation all around everything that I've got here. You want to try to, if it is an insulated ceiling, you want to try to make sure you get lots of insulation up on top as well. I probably will bring up a couple bats of insulation and just lay them across the top just for some extra. Most of what you see here is all blown in, so it's sometimes hard to get piled up just in one spot. So I'm just going to get my poly in there, do what I can to seal it up, and then get the insulation in place, and I'll come back down. Okay, so I'm finally back down out of that ugly attic. Obviously, we haven't painted the ceiling, did any mudding or whatever, but I just want to show you how the cover goes on. So on the cover, you're going to find these two kind of spring-loaded springs. I don't know what you call them. And on the side of the housing here, there's two little bent out tabs a pair on each side that these springs slip in behind. And I'm pretty sure you're not, well, I might be able to do one side where you can see. So you see I'm squeezing them together, getting them behind those tabs. Now when I push the cover up, you can see how the tension of those tabs basically is going to hold it in place. I've plugged the housing in as well. I'll just get this side done up. Push that up and it holds it up there. As long as you've positioned the fan right, it holds it up there. We had turned on the breaker already. I'll hit the switch. You might be able to hear that running, quite possibly, but it works. So I guess that's how to install or replace a bath fan. I think we showed you as much as we possibly could actually doing the install, and we showed you the rest that we could on the table, so you should have a good idea at this point now what you need to do. If you like this video, that'd be great. Just click the little, I think it's over there, the little like thumbs up on the video. Also right below here there's a link to our website at houseimprovements.com. It's right in the comments below me, and from there you can get into our website where you can find articles. I actually think we even have an article about installing a bath fan, if I'm not mistaken. From there there's also the forum tab that you can go into the forum and ask questions or look around or maybe help somebody else with a problem they're having. And as well on the YouTube channel here, we've got tons of videos up, so have a look around and maybe you'll like them all. Thanks for watching.